Okay, so I have one finished object that you haven't seen me casting on, and a work in progress that I've already done, at least as far as species, half of the project. So hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my very small place on the internet where I talk about my knitting life and my knitting adventures. My name is Isabelle, I am in France, and today it's going to be a regular episode about my knitting adventures. I have a whole set of videos that I've placed in separate playlists on my YouTube channel, so one of them is my knitting adventures. So today I'm going to be talking about one finished object. I was not even knowing I was casting it on last time I talked to you. One work in progress that you have already seen and one new work in progress. So if that is of some interest to you, please stay tuned. Okay, first, what am I wearing? I am wearing my Madeleine sweater. I love this sweater. I knitted last summer, and thanks to some of you who've recommended me how to get rid of some of SPF or makeup stains that were on the color, I am able to wear it again. And as today the weather is nice, the sun has been out all of the day, and I'm not sure where the day has gone because I wanted to go have a walk before I record this video. We are on a holiday today on May 8th in France. I wanted to have a walk and then record the video, but I'm thinking that I need to record first, and if I have enough time after that, I'll go out to have a walk. Anyway, the sun has been out, the cats have been out all day. They are now inside and they are with me. You may hear Peluche, who is next to me, and she is cleaning her out all the way in and out. And so my Madeleine sweater has been, it was in my shelves, and I was so unhappy because it has all of the stains. You see, it's all gone. I'm wearing it. It's short sleeves. I really love the little slip stitches here that make the ridges. I love the wrap stitches. I've had some inspiration of the wrap stitches to make the motif on my little trendy scarf that is made with the tides from Holz Garn. So it's 70% wool and 30% silk. And I knit the sweater double stranded. I'm not sure I recall which needles did I use. Did I write it there? Yeah, 4mm needles. So I knit it per pattern, no modifications. Of course, I was not on gauge, so I need size 2. I've just seen that. Yes, I need size 2. I'm not a size 2, but I need size 2 because my yarn and my swatch and my needles were bringing less stitches per inch or per 10 or per centimeter. Anyway, I love it. I am so happy I'm able to wear it again. Okay, as I've said, one finished object that I cast on 3 days ago. So you haven't seen it, and I did not even know I was going to cast it on. And 2 work in progress, one you know of, my socks, and one you knew I was going to cast on, and I have casted it on, and I've even finished the first part of it. It's Yara by Natasha Hornby. So first, my finished object. I wanted to use all the yarn, and I haven't, all the yarn that I used from my previous finished object, which was the Old Field by Drops, with yarn from Lenal West. I made a tiny pom-pom hat by Teti Lutzak. So I use the same yarn, I use the same needles, 4.5 millimeter needles. 4.5 millimeter needles. And so the same needles as for the sweater. And so I did not knit it per pattern. The 2x2 rib, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. The 2x2 ribs I made the same. The tiny pom-pom I made the same. What I did not do is have a folded brim because the yarn is quite thick. The 2x2 ribs make it a bit thicker even, and I did not want to have the whole, a very bulky one on my head. So here it is. It's a bit pointier than the one that Etty Lutzak's done, because, and if I put it very down on my head, and you see I did not like to have the brim like that. It's the way she's done it, but I like it sticking out a bit, and it's gonna go perfectly with my sweater. So that's one entry for the Machical, the hashtag Machi Knit Along that I'm running. So I'm taking that opportunity to be talking about the knit along too, because I'm a bad YouTuber, I always forget. So it's not blocked. So I'm gonna block it. The ends are weaved in. I did not cut it. I did not cut my ends too tight so that if there are some problem I can take them out and do it again. I used her recipe for the decreases, and as my gauge was smaller, so that means my stitches and my rows were bigger, I used the same stitch count for the middle size, I think, but I really did not use the same row numbers. I think I did maybe 20 rows less for the length before I decreased. And for each decrease around, I guess I did 2 to 4 rows less than what she was asking for. Anyway, a tiny pom-pom. I'm not sure the pom-pom is very, very regular. I'll have to check once it's washed. But that's one finished object that I'm not going to be wearing right now, and it's going to be waiting for colder weather, but I'm not waiting for colder weather. Okay, second work in progress, which is a half-finished object. I'm not sure I recall if it was finished last time I talked about it. I guess it was finished. The socks for my sons. So this one is the first one I did. So for reference, 2.5 millimeter needles, because I did not have any smaller ones, and Lang yarns, fingering weight for socks. So the first self-changing color one is Lang Yawol twin yarns, and the pops of color is just Yawol twin. I think I had showed it to you, it was finished. Maybe what I had not talked about to you, I'm not sure I recall. No, because I recorded before my sons were coming, and I recorded way ahead of time because I knew I wasn't going to be having much time to record the week they were here. It was spring break for them. They tried it on. This one is for my eldest son, which is a shoe size 42, so that's US 9 or 9.5 and UK 8, or the other way around, one way or the other. And it's extremely, way too big for him. It's also way too big for my second son, who has narrower feet but the same length, about the same length as my eldest. And they fit my youngest son perfectly. He's a size 44 for the French shoes, so I think it's 11 or something. And I was a bit surprised. So that's not a problem, because I said, okay, we're going to rotate the colors you had chosen. Everyone is okay with that. And I will need smaller socks for my two eldest ones. So I have started, and I passed the heel turn, and I'm on the foot now. The second sock that I'm knitting with a 2.5 millimeter needles and with the same stitch count. I did not say it was 72 stitches. Question is, what do I do for the other socks that I want to knit two French shoe sizes smaller? I have their feet dimension. I did not draw their feet on a paper, but I have their feet dimension. I thought it was going to fit my eldest son, but not at all. So I'm not sure what to do. I joined the Facebook group about sock knitting and I asked the question, and I'm going to be asking the same question to you. And I'm going to tell you what the ladies over there said, because I think maybe in this Facebook group there are people who are expert sock knitters. So I say, if I want to knit smaller socks, what should I do? Should I reduce my needle sizes and keep the 72 stitches count? Or should I keep the same needle size and go down to, I think it's 64 stitches? The adequate number of stitches, or the regular number of stitches below 72, so I think it's 64. I like the fabric with the 2.5 millimeter needles. It's okay to me. It's not see-through, it's not too tight, it's not too loose. I think it's okay. The heel is not nice. I made the reinforcement in the toe. The toe is nice. I think I like the way they look right now with the 2.5 millimeter needles, but I'm ready to use smaller needles because I ordered and received the set. And talking about that, I want to thank, let me get her name. I want to thank Lena, who emailed me with a website in Europe, in Northern Europe, that sells square DPNs. Unfortunately, I had already bought a DPN set. I'm going to talk about it in my next Yarn by Year video, because I allow myself to buy accessories if I need them. So I bought the Xiaogu set, the smaller set, the 15 centimeter needles and the smaller diameters. So I can cast on 72 stitches on smaller needles now. Do I do that? I like the fabric. The fabric is okay. If you look at the stockinette part, it's not too loose. It looks okay to me. I guess I will have to try with smaller needles, but to me it looks okay. So do I use smaller needles and 72 stitches? Or do I keep the same needles, 2.5 millimeters, and use 64 stitches? That's a big dilemma to me, and as I have no experience into sock knitting, I do not know what to do. So I asked in this Facebook group that I joined, and the majority of people, of course, they say just swatch, so I can use this sock as a swatch and calculate my gauge. But I made 2x1 ribbing on the top. I have stockinette on the bottom. I guess I can roughly estimate my swatch. My stitch count per 10 centimeters or 4 inches. But the majority of the people said, if you like the fabric, go down to 64 stitches and keep the same needle sizes. Would you do that? I'm asking you, the one of you, and I'm sure there are plenty of you who are expert sock knitters, what would you do? This is what I'm tempted to be doing. And with the rest of for my sons, and with the rest of the yarn, for myself, I will knit socks. I will try with a lower stitch count, 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter needles. But what would you do? I'm so undecided. I haven't really calculated my gauge yet because I know I know that my eldest son and my middle son, their feet is about at the time at the length I started the toe decreases, and my youngest son is he's over, I think he's 1 meter and 88 centimeters. I will try to write that down in feet and stuff because it's a measurement I have never been able to be making the calculations in my head. So he's very tall and he has very big feet. So if it fits him perfectly and this is not blocked, so I will wash it, I will block it, wash it in the washing machine, the way he will be doing it. So I guess it will be a little tighter, and socks should be a bit tighter than a bit looser on the foot. And the ankle and the leg parts are just fine. So this one fit him correctly. But my question is, and this is why I'm kind of languishing on doing the second one. I'm on the foot. I could have finished it by now. Do I go down a needle size and keep 72 stitches, or do I keep the same stitches and go down to 64, keep the same needle size and go down to 64 stitches? My third question in this group was going down a needle size and going to 64 stitches, and nobody ever picked up on that idea. So I guess I will try for myself. And someone said that 64 stitches on 2.5 millimeter needles was giving him or her, I'm not sure I recall, perfect socks for size 9 in the US. So I guess it's just fine. These are, I guess, size 11 for my youngest. Anyway, so that's my question. I'm almost decided to keep the same needle size. I will use the better set, the Chiaogu set, and go down to 64 stitches. So please, if you have any idea about that, please comment down below so we can have a discussion, and I will report back, because I guess that's one of the other questions. Everybody has knitting socks. The first one is, which do you go cuff down or toe up? So that's an easy one. And the second, which kind of heel do you do? So that's another more complicated one, because there are many different type of heels. I like the heel flap and gusset. It did fit them perfectly, so I'm gonna be doing that for the 3 pairs. And the other one is how many stitches and on which needles. So what do you do for yourself or for the bigger feet? If you have bigger feet yourself, or you need socks for people who have bigger feet, so what do you do, and what would you do in my case? And of course, as I finished talking about the socks, I'm sure I wrote it down on the screen at the beginning of this segment, so that you know I'm knitting with mainly one pattern that Rita recommended me, and thanks again very much, Rita. It's the I'm So Basic Socks by Summerly, and Summerly has published other patterns right now, so please have a look at what they are publishing, because there are many of them and many of them are for free. Okay, after the beanie, after the socks, the big one, Yara by Natasha Hornby. If you recall, if you've seen the previous videos, I started my yarn no buy year 2 years ago, because I went crazy on a big Holzgarn sale, and I bought so much yarn, that I was pushed into starting a no buy year project for yarn, because I was not comfortable with all the yarn that I had bought. Some of it was to knit some shawls by Natasha Hornby, one of them being Yara. So this is the super soft I have a cone of super soft in silver gray, so that's my main contrasting color. I have a cone of super soft in slate gray, if I recall correctly, so that's my main color. So a dark main color and a lighter contrasting color, and the two other contrasting colors for the little pops are tides, so the same one I used for my Madeleine sweater that I'm wearing, and the super soft in gold crest, I guess. I'm not sure. I think I have the ball band here. Gold crest, yes. And both of them for the pops are held double. So I finished the first part. I'm not sure how she labels that. I guess it's the first part. So you knit the top of the shawl, then you pick up all the stitches to knit the bottom of the shawl. So if I show it to you the right side up, so this is most probably the edge that is going to be at the top. So you start with the main color, you knit a little pointy head. I'm not sure if it's the cast on or the bind off, a little pointy end with the main color. Then you go into, so it's all slip, mosaic knitting and slip stitches. And then you move into that part that she calls two color broken stitch, two color broken seed stitch. And so you knit one row with one color and the other one with the other color. So you knit twice for one row. I like this effect very much, and I'm not sure if she made it up or if it was already known somewhere, but I like it a lot and I will most probably using it again. Then you go into mosaic knitting with these little motifs, or maybe I should show it to you that way, it would be better. The little motifs and with the little color pops, the little row with the color pops. So you do you alternate some broken seed stitch, mosaic knitting, and plain knitting of garter rows to separate all of the motifs. Then you knit these little cross motifs, that is also mosaic knitting. Then some other kind of mosaic and garter stitches. You pass halfway of the shawl and you repeat the same thing on the other side, and I'm not sure it's the cast on or it's a bind off, and it's all symmetrical. So that means if I take it that way, it's going to be this side up. You have your border that you knit as you go with three stitches. I think it's 3 stitches garter border. And you have the other border that is not very nice for now, but you're going to be picking up stitches to knit the lower part. So it's going to be that way. If I go about the middle, I haven't weaved in my ends. It's going to go that way. I love the way it looks. It's kind of a bit like what she's done. That means, so I think she had, I was considering doing the CC one, the main contrasting color in the white with the tide. I decided to go with the light gray because I think the difference in texture between the super soft and the tide is too important, and it would have been showing. I wasn't sure it was going to be that good on the little seed stitch here. It's fine. The little pops here, it's okay. As a main contrasting color throughout the shawl, I'm not sure it was going to be. The difference in the yarn appearance would have been too drastic to me, I think. Anyway, so I need that in. So I cast it on April 24th, and had finished it when my sons came in a week and a half ago. So I guess I did that in 2 weeks, something like that. And I was in sort of in a Yara fatigue, so I've kind of left it aside for now, so that I can cast on all the stitches and knit again on it once, happily knit again on it. It is not a difficult pattern. People have said it's quite a journey and everything. In a way, yes, because you have to be attentive. It's not a pattern where you can have your mind wander and where you can forget where you are. You need to know at all times where you are, what you are doing. All the rows are extremely well explained. The pattern is very detailed, and I never asked myself any question. How should I do this or that? No. Everything is very well explained. So no worries about that. You need to have it's a mindful project, yes, but it's not a complicated project. None of the techniques are difficult. None of them, if you write down or have a way to know where you are at any time and what you are doing. It's not difficult. And if you were considering casting it on, I'm encouraging you to do it, because it's not, or one of you said you had left it aside because it was quite an endeavor. Yeah, I think that if you don't write where you are at each time, yeah, it can be very, very confusing. But if you write down or have a way to know at any time which row you are knitting, it's not difficult. That's the only difficulty to me. None of the techniques are difficult. And it's kind of funny because even though some of the rows are repeats of you repeat them throughout your knitting, it's not, you do not get bored. You do not get bored. You see the colors evolve. You see the motifs appear. And I had a lot of fun knitting that part. I finished it just before my sons came in, and I had not picked up the stitches. And I'm this is what makes me afraid, to be very homogeneous, picking up all the stitches all the way throughout. So she has a method that I had never thought about, and I may use it again, to pick up the stitches and to be homogeneous all throughout the length of the shawl, because I'm not sure how many stitches you pick up, 300 or something like that. And it's kind of a long way to be picking up stitches. Which brings me to one thing that I'm not sure about. And I've seen other shawls, other Yara shawls knit with Holz garn. And I'm not sure I recall which yarn she used. It's a bit bigger. My first part is, I think, 20 centimeter less, so almost 10% less than her own sample and maybe some other people's samples. And what I'm not sure about is, do I block it to the measurement before I pick up, or do I pick up before I block it? I'm kind of undecided too, because I know that super soft blooms when you block it, and I'm afraid I'm gonna be picking up stitches on a yarn that is going to be different from the one I'm knitting with. Even though it's the same, they are not going to have the same properties. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. I'm leaning towards picking up the stitches right now, not blocking it out. And if the shawl is a bit smaller, it's going to be a bit smaller. And once it's finished, I can pull on it when I block it, so that to place it closer to the dimensions. When I look at other other Yara shawls on Ravelry from other people, they do not look that small. So I'm kind of, it's almost 30 centimeters less than what it should be. So it's over 10%. And we'll see. Anyway, I think I won't block it, and I will pick up the stitches where they are right now. So now that I've shown you, now that I've said that I'm going to be picking up the stitches, I need to be picking up the stitches because this is why I've knit on my sock. This is why I've made a little hat. It's because I don't want to be going picking up all of these stitches. But I need to do it. It's going to be a very beautiful shawl. I'm sure I'm going to love it. It's going to be a very impressive shawl, I think. One of them, once like the Stephen West ones. I think Natasha Hornby is like Stephen West. She comes up with very, very original and very unique patterns that are stunning and beautiful, and you can be showing off when you wear them. Okay, next day, I'm just out of the shower. I had started editing the video this morning. It's still a holiday in France. So Wednesday and Thursday of this week is a holiday in France. So May 8th and May 9th. So I was editing the video and I realized I had forgotten a very important segment for this video. Of course, I have an outline of what I want to be saying. Of course, I don't read it. And I just forgot to thank you a lot for all of your inputs on what I should be casting on, my hesitations to cast on with the Nutiden and mohair, the blue Nutiden and mohair yarn. Most of people say Gallant was better suited, and I agree with that. So I'm probably gonna cast on Gallant once I'm ready to do so. We have a nice weather today and for the next few days, so I may not be casting on pure wool or chunkier wool and mohair. But next week they are saying that the weather is not very good. It's going to be raining and cold again. So I may cast on the sweater next week. One comment that really decided me, and I'm thanking you so much for that, is that Space-Time had a particular way of increasing in the yoke. When I looked and I enlarged pictures, I kind of see these are like inverted Ys, or not a straight line and a branching line from the Y, the inverted Y. And you said this motif would get lost with the fuzziness of the Nutiden and mohair, which I agreed on. I think it's a very good remark, a very good comment. So I will be casting on the Gallant with the Nutiden mohair. All the ones who like Space-Time, I do like it too, very, very much. And I'm sure I'm going to be casting it on with another yarn that will show the stitch definition a bit better. Okay, next, by popular demand, and by popular I mean by one of you, the one of you who's been visiting me and we spent the weekend together. And we've started to have video calls, or web conferences, or whatever you call them. We had one since she came, and last Sunday, and we said we are going to be having video calls about once a month. So by her popular demand, she said that she really enjoys the Who Am I Knitting With segment. So I'm going to be talking about that right now because last time I guess I forgot. So first I'm knitting with you because even though the first video conference we did not knit, we were just talking and talking. I guess next ones will be knitting together on a Sunday night. So who am I knitting with? I'm knitting with many different things right now. My attention and my interest are all over the place. So, as you know, I like very much crumbing, and in one of my videos, Mr. SIRI started to play music all by itself. So it's their latest album. It's Ala Sala. And Krungbing is a three people band from Texas, I think Texas. I will have to check. And they do very relaxing music. I really love a lot what they are doing. And this is back to their roots, to their first albums, because they have been doing some collaborations and they've ventured into some other type of music, always something very calm and not something you place if you want to go have a run, for example, and more relaxing music. And I like very much this album, which is very similar to their first one. And just to mention, the first album from Kruenbing, the one who's been making me discover them, is my son Paulin, who is a musician. So that's their latest album, and you can listen to it and you can buy it, your eyes closed. The second ones, I'm not sure they are, so that's from 2017. I think it's a bit before, I'm not sure I have the copyright here. I don't see 2014 or something like that. I will have to check for the dates. It's a group that is called Thievery Corporation. I have two of their albums here. I have more elsewhere. And this is more like a little bit of reggae music, a little bit of slow dancing music, always happy music. And this is some music I listen to when I go walking, when I knit, when I commute, or things like that. And I want to lift my spirit. These two ones here, and I have more of their albums, are just happy music. So this one is called Culture of Fear, and this one is called, I don't even know how it's called, it's called the Temple of I and I. Is there by any chance, no, there is no copyright date. It's somewhere, and it's probably very written in very fine prints that I can't, 2017, I guess, that I can't read. I'll write it down. And happy music, something that you can play and have your mind lift up and your mood lift up, and as you are knitting or doing, just a slow walk or something like that. The other thing, or the other show I'm knitting with, and it is a series on Apple TV Plus, the one you have to subscribe to. It's a series, I think there are 3 seasons. I finished the first 2 ones, and I'm in the third one. I'm in the last one, so if there are 2 seasons only, I'm in the second one, or I'm in the third one. And it's called SEE, as when you see something. And it's a very, at first I was thinking, do I try that? Jason Momoa, I kind of like him, but I kind of not like much of what he's doing. So I was thinking, do I watch it or not? So I gave it a try. The first 2 or 3 episodes I watched one evening. I'm not saying that I'm hooked. It's not that strong of an interest, but it has my interest and it has my attention, because it's a very particular series. So it's a post-apocalyptic series, and either they've said it and I missed it, or they haven't said what happened, and it's something like 200 or 300 years after some kind of apocalypse, I'm not sure what, where the humans have lost their sight. They don't see any longer. So all the civilization has evolved towards people who are not seeing. So of course their other senses are more developed so that they can survive. They went back to some kind of medieval type of era. They use horses when they fight, whether a fight is with axes and swords and stuff like that. And so there is a story. The bad people are quite bad. The good people are quite good. So it's not like if you're wondering where are the good and where are the bad people. And in a way, it's like Game of Thrones. I'm not sure how many seasons there are going to be, and if the third one is going to be the last one, and if it's going to be finished, or if there are going to be other episodes. It's sort of like Game of Thrones. You have stories that goes, and you follow one particular group of people, but you have some other stories, and sometimes they go together and they fight or not, and sometimes they get separated, and you follow the two different stories, and you follow that. And what happened is that at some point some babies are born so that's 200 or 300 years after the apocalypse, with their sight back. So what I like, other than the fact that it's a bim bam boom type of series where you don't think too much and people fight, sometimes the fights are quite difficult to watch if you are sensitive to that, because you see what happens with axes and and swords and stuff like that. So it's not always that if you are sensitive, you may not want to be watching that. But other than that, the relationship between the people who see and the one who don't, the fact that some of the groups say that people who see are witches and they have developed a witch hunter task force to hunt them down and kill them. It's that type of interaction between two parts of society, how they evolved, how they got there. I'm not sure we are going to be able to know at some point what got them there, but they evolve in a world where you have leftovers from the previous civilization. So you have dams or you have constructions that they are using, and they build their villages and stuff like that. And all the political and love affair and the relationship between people, and how they trust or mistrust, and if they betray, or that's a story. So I think it's quite interesting. I kind of like, some of them have some way of feeling things that are happening, or feeling what the future is going to be, as maybe another sense that they have developed after losing their sight. And there is a whole environment in that series that I kind of like, and I watch that at night when I knit. So when I know I have a couple of hours of knitting ahead of me, that I finished soon enough, and then I can go knit a couple hours before I go to sleep. I usually put a couple episodes, 2 or 3 episodes. They're not very long, and I enjoy that. Okay, so I've talked about my finished objects, my projects. I've talked about who am I knitting with. I guess this is gonna be, I'm wrapping it up here. The sun is not down, so it's not too late. I may take the opportunity to be going out and walking at my very slow baby snail pace. Let's not talk about my health condition. Let's say it's status quo. And I hope you did enjoy my video. for today. If you did, please do the usual YouTube goodness, liking, subscribing, commenting, and etc., sharing and everything. And I hope this video is gonna find you well. I hope that you are able to place joy and happiness into your knitting, because we do have to actively work on that, because it's not coming all by itself. And if we do spend some time thinking about positive things into our knitting, our little stitches, and sending them out, it will build up more joy and happiness into your day or into the few minutes you are with your project. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and in the meantime, okay, so I talked about my projects, the ones I finished, the ones that are in progress. I talked about who I am knitting with. I guess we are done for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to do the usual YouTube goodness of subscribing and liking and commenting and everything. And I hope you are able to place some joy and happiness into your knitting, because it's not going to be coming all by itself. We do have to actively work on that, especially when life is difficult or painful, or if we are in difficult situations. It's not very easy to be actively placing joy or happiness or both into our lives. And if we actively place joy and happiness into our knitting, it's a few stitches, a few minutes, a few hours where we are working on our own joy and happiness, our own mindful time. And if you're not able to do it for yourself, please do it thinking about other people, and send them joy and happiness through your own little stitches. And I hope that this video is gonna find you well, and I hope I will see you next time. Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq. Top. Top. So if that sounds of some, if that is of some interest to you, please stay tuned. The 2x2 let me get the pattern. I'm not sure I recall how it's called. Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq. Top.